Congratulations, first of all, on being named the president of the Calgary Stampeders.
Thank you very much.
Why don't we start with just how you came to take over this role and what it means to you?
So when I came back in October of 2022 and as the Vice President of Business Operations, that was sort of the first step. Huff was turning 72 years old. He wants to fish and he wants to golf, and how does he plan for succession? Certainly that was, I would join the organization in that role and have to prove myself, and so, the great news is I had a great mentor in him over the last 16 months, and he taught me a lot, and so here we are today, fast forward, and it probably happened sooner than I thought, but I'm excited about the opportunity. What does it mean to me? I've been asked the question, is this something that I dreamt of? And the quick answer to that is no. When I retired from football and I started my post-football career, it never really entered my mind. And what led to me coming back was sort of a random conversation that kind of just escalated, and here I am. And so, but now that I'm here, it's a second dream come true. I feel incredibly fortunate, and I'm very humbled for this opportunity.
Right, awesome. So how do you split up your time in terms of what happens on the field and off the field? I'm assuming there's way more work that you'll be putting into what happens off the field, right?
Exactly, running the business side of things, that's going to be the main focus. Obviously, what happens on the field impacts what happens off the field, and we are here to win a Grey Cup championship, and my job at the end of the day is to help Dave and the coaches to make sure that they have enough resources to be successful on the field. So, I am not going to make any personnel decisions. I am not going to weigh in on any of that, but I'm there going to be help with budgets and salary cap and all those sorts of things. And if there are tools that they need, then I'm going to help them get them.
So you've been around for just over a year now as the VP. You've kind of seen sort of what's been going on with the club. What would you say are the biggest challenges that the club is facing right now, and what do you think the approach should be to fixing them? I know that's a huge question, so you can just kind of pick out a few things that you've seen.
Multifaceted for sure. Getting people to come to McMahon Stadium to come to a game. That is our number one. How do we sell more tickets? And there's a lot of layers to that. I think last year we invested in our season ticket holders, we invested in fan growth and fan engagement. And although it didn't translate into tickets sold during the year, we built a strong foundation of the things we want to get to and what we want to do to help attract Gen Z and millennials. How do we bring new Canadians into the stadium? And how do we get some of our fans that have left us to come back? And so I think we've planted the seeds, and we're going to continue to invest in those in 2024 and beyond, and then help fill the stadium. So that's our number one goal. Actually, maybe that's our number two goal. Winning a Grey Cup championship is our number one goal, right. And making sure we have people here to watch is the second goal.
Obviously you played here, and I think a lot of Stamps fans already know you, but for those who don't, what kind of person are you? What sort of characteristics will you bring to the job?
That's a loaded question. I think our world has changed. The sporting world has changed, especially since the pandemic. How fans consume sports is very different than it was even 5 years ago. And so, we had been getting so good for so long, there wasn't an impetus to change. And so now we have to, how can we do our business differently? How do we engage our fans differently? How do we, do our game presentation differently? How do we compel somebody to come from their living room that has a 70-inch TV, they have cold, cheap beer and climate controlled? How do we get them to come to McMahon and brave, potentially a snowstorm in November like we had last year, and to come and watch us, live? And, that's something we strategize about every day is, what can we do to elevate the fan experience to make sure people want to be here and to give them something they can't get on TV?
Right. What are the strengths of the club, would you say?
Certainly, Dave Dickinson is a major strength. The fact that we have John Huffnagel still as an advisor for both Dave and myself, huge strength. The cross-functional team that we have that, from Calgary Sports and Entertainment to the Calgary Stampeders to provide a superb game presentation, it's a huge strength. Our ownership and what they give us and help us give us the resources of what we need to do to be successful, a huge strength for us. And then our fan base. Our fan base are passionate. Even though they may not be coming to games, we've done surveys over the years and they still remain passionate Stampeder fans. And so it's how do we reconnect on an emotional level and remind them of why they're Stampeder fans.
Right. Last one for you, and you've brought him up already. Huff, of course, he's had the position since 2016. What can you say about him and what you've learned from him and just the stamp that he's put on this organization? No pun intended, the stamp on the stamps.
I didn't even pick on that. So, one of the biggest things I've watched him, the way he interacts with everybody in this organization, and the confidence that he brings is there is an expectation of excellence. And that permeates our entire organization. So, it's our expectation is to win, whether that's on the field or off the field, and he demands that. And he does that in a way that people buy into it, and they want to be a part of that. And so, watching him through that it's taught me a lot about that type of leadership. And then, he knows football and he knows this league, and the way he interacts with the league and with other teams, he's taught me a great deal about that as well. So it's been a great learning experience for me.